Hi there, my name's Ellen and I'm Psychology's Eco Living Editor, and I'm going live today as part of our World Oceans Day series, which you can catch up on our feed. They're all went live on Monday, so you can watch those now, and today I'm going to be talking to Eleanor Hunt, who is the Sales and Marketing Executive for Natracare. Natracare make natural and organic, vegan-friendly products for people with periods, and they also help you to cut down on your plastic waste. They're a brilliant brand that we love at Psychologies. Hi to everybody who's joining.
Hello, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Thank you for having us on here.
Thank you for joining us. Hi to everybody who's joining. We've got a
Hello.
few people adding now. Hi. So I thought you could start by kind of talking about the bigger plastics problem. If people are new to Natracare and natural period products, like how are they part of the bigger picture and tackling plastics as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, the plastic problem is so massive. Plastic is a material that we've really come to rely on. And, it's such a cheap material. So that's why we're kind of dealing with so many different products and areas of so many different industries that use plastic. But Natracare has been campaigning against plastic use in period products for a really, really long time now. We, as a brand, have been going for 30 years. So we've been making natural and organic period products for 30 years. And with period products, with pads and tampons, they're obviously a lot of them are a single use item. So when you're using plastic within that, you're using it once and then throwing it away. That's obviously a massive waste issue. And as I'm sure a lot of people will know, plastic doesn't biodegrade. So you use it once and it's likely going to outlive you, which is really unfortunate. So Natracare has really been championing kind of removing these unnecessary ingredients and materials from period products, because it's really not necessary to have them. We use organic cotton, we also use plant cellulose. So all of the materials that we use are biodegradable, and they're also compostable. But yeah, as I said, I mean, there are so many people in the world that have periods that use these products on a daily basis. And if they're choosing products that are made from plastic, unfortunately, when they're thrown away, they're not likely to kind of disappear. So that's kind of where plastic and period products kind of fits in with the wider issue of plastic being a material that, just burdens us with waste, unfortunately.
Yeah. And when it comes to things like plastic tampon applicators, why is it so important not to flush those?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's an applicator or anything, whether it's the actual tampon or the pad, is really important not to flush anything. The advice that we really champion is that you should flush the 3 Ps. So that's pee, paper, and poo. So if it's not one of those things, don't flush it, basically. And there's a variety of reasons why that's really important. So firstly, if you're flushing something like a tampon or a pad, it's likely going to block your toilet and block your drain, which is really expensive to fix and a real pain. No one really wants to have to deal with blocked drains, and so that's one of the reasons. Another reason that if it does manage to go through your drain and into the sewer, it's likely to cause an even bigger blockage there. So there's something that is a real issue. It's called fatbergs. It's essentially where period products and nappies and tissues and anything else that shouldn't be flushed kind of congeals together with all the oil that's kind of down in the drain, and it forms these huge blockages. And all the water companies that look after our sewers have to go in and kind of like hack those away. And all of that waste ends up either in landfill or it ends up being burnt. So I think there is an assumption that when you flush something, it kind of disappears, and unfortunately, that's not the case. So that's the same with plastic applicators. If you flush it, it is going to end up somewhere. So it will either end up in landfill or being burnt. If it does manage to kind of slip through the net and end up in the ocean, that obviously has a kind of like another whole host of issues. It contributes to microplastic pollution. It's obviously not the most hygienic thing to have used period products kind of in the oceans, and they also end up washing up on our beaches. So, you know, if anyone's ever been on a beach walk and found a plastic applicator or, you know, a used sanitary pad, it's come from the drains basically.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe people often don't think about the journey between the two, but
Yeah,
there's so many being found along beach cleans and everything
definitely.
else.
Yeah, I mean, who's the Women's Environmental Network, they did some research and found that there are 9 plastic applicators per kilometre on British coastlines. So, and it is really common. And I think the reason why a lot of people flush period products is, you know, it's kind of a learned habit. It's maybe something that your mum does or your friend does. Or, you know, maybe you don't have a bin in your bathroom, maybe you live in a shared household. So there are definitely a whole host of reasons why flushing seems like the best answer, but, you know, it is going to end up somewhere. Definitely. That's kind of one of a really good way to kind of develop a more sustainable habit is to start binning your period products, definitely.
Yeah, it's shocking how many turn up on beaches, but I think it is often just a case of people not realizing. And
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know myself, like I didn't realize that this was such a massive issue, and when I was younger I definitely, you know, used to flush a period product. You know, it's a really easy way to kind of get rid of it, but yeah, they're just going to end up in the ocean or in landfill. So.
Yeah. And do you think, obviously, Natracare has been going since the 80s?
Yeah.
Is kind of, do you think part of it is that people don't want to talk about it as much, and maybe the conversation is opening up a lot more now, which I think is really great
Yeah,
around plastics and periods?
yeah, definitely. I think unfortunately there is still a taboo around periods, and I think that's partly why a lot of people still don't know kind of how to dispose of them properly, because there aren't really those open channels of communication. But it definitely has improved, you know, since Natracare has started. The conversation around periods has become so much more open, and people are really wanting to talk about, you know, everything to do with periods, the impact that they have on the environment, you know, how it is having a period and the different stages of our cycles. So communication has definitely opened up, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Natracare, we always want to be as transparent as we possibly can, and we have been campaigning for better ingredient transparency on our period products. And I think that's something that kind of coincides with flushing. There isn't the information on more mainstream products. There isn't the information about how to dispose of them properly, or the ingredients that are used and the materials that are used. And that's something that we're really trying to campaign against, just to kind of empower people with the knowledge so they know what they're using and they know how to dispose of it properly.
Yeah, I think when I first started kind of switching to natural products, I was really shocked that products don't have to have the ingredients on the list.
I
So
know.
how are people going to know if it's not on there?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not a legal requirement. So, you know, you buy this tampon or this pad, and there's no information there to kind of tell you what you're using, the materials that it uses, and then what effect that's going to have on your body and on the planet as well. So, I mean, it's definitely getting better, but there is still a lot of work to be done to kind of get that information out there to people that have periods.
Yeah. And in terms of flushing, what do you say around things like wet wipes and wipes that are described as flushable? Like, what's the do's and don'ts there?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question, and this kind of, you know, adds another element to the flushing, and what you can flush and what you can't. As I said, the advice is you should only flush the 3Ps, so pee, paper and poo. But, you know, obviously wipes have grown massively in popularity. They are a really convenient product to use. People use them for a whole variety of reasons. And a lot of wipes will say that they're flushable. And unfortunately, these kind of flushable wipes have passed like a global standard. So it's not particularly strict. And it's not very representative of the sewers that we have, for instance, here in the UK. So these wipes are also made from like synthetic materials. So whether it's like a plastic-based material or something more synthetic, so they're very difficult to pull apart and break down when they're in the sewer. So unfortunately, there is a trend of flushable wipes claiming that they're flushable, but actually they're not. And when they're in the sewers, they don't break down and they continue to cause fatbergs, like I mentioned, and blockages. But as I said, wipes are so popular, so we kind of felt like we needed to make an option for people that really wanted to continue using wipes, but wanted to make better choices for the planet. So we brought out a wipe that's actually made from 100% paper. It's called the Safe to Flush Moist Tissue, and it passed a brand new certification called the Fine to Flush certification. So it's much stricter. The wipes have been rigorously tested. So our advice to people when they want to buy wipes is to look for that Fine to Flush certification, because you can rest assured that they are not made from materials that are too strong to break down in the sewers, that they can actually disintegrate properly once they've been flushed. But I mean, if possible, kind of only flush the 3Ps. Avoid wipes as much as you can, but yeah, look for the Fine to Flush logo.
That's really useful.
Mm.
And you also do a lot of work. You're part of the 1% for the planet, which, if people don't know, that means that you're giving back through your work to help support environmental causes as well and be sustainable. What other things do you do, and what does that kind of mean for a business?
Yeah, so we joined 1% for the planet last year, which we were really excited about. And it's an organisation that gathers together companies to kind of support NGOs that work for environmental causes. So as part of this partnership, we donate 1% of our turnover to environmental organisations. So this can be really wide-reaching. It's global as well. And we work with a few organisations that specifically try to tackle plastic pollution. So Five Gyres is one. They are mostly based in the States, but they do some amazing work in educating people about the plastic pollution problem, how they can help, and then also, you know, going out and actually trying to make a difference, whether that's through expeditions or data research, and just empowering everyone with the knowledge to kind of make better choices and kind of see what the situation is like in terms of plastic pollution. So they've done a lot of research on microplastics. So with Five Gyres and kind of other partnerships, we are able to kind of support them in the work that they're doing, which is something that's really, really important to us. We don't just want to create these products to help people, but we also want to go further and to support those organisations that are making it their mission to improve plastic pollution, to just improve our planet, basically.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And with lockdown and everything recently, there's been a lot of talk around there's more waste on our beaches, there's more people leaving litter and things like that. Kind of at the moment, what can people do to help? Like, can they do beach cleans? Is it maybe a good time to start trying plastic-free period products and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is something that we've spoken about as a team at Natracare, how the pandemic has kind of changed people's shopping habits or their abilities to kind of live a sustainable lifestyle. It's definitely made it difficult. And I think we would say, don't stress if you can't find the most sustainable option or do the most sustainable thing at the moment. But we're obviously all spending a lot of time at home, and it can be quite daunting to change your period products. If you've gotten used to something in particular, you might not want to change it up, and to go for something different. But now has never been a better time to try perhaps an organic cotton tampon if you've never done before, or a biodegradable pad. You're in the comfort of your own home, so if it doesn't quite work out, you're not out in town or anything without access to a public bathroom. So if you're looking to make a more sustainable option during this time, your periods are a really, really great way to start that journey. And yeah, I mean, with beach cleans, if you're lucky enough to live by the coast and you're wanting to do something on your daily walk, or when you go outside, definitely see if you can do a bit of beach cleaning. Or if you're walking out in town or out in the countryside, if you have the option to pick up litter, that's amazing, and that's a really great way of feeling like you are able to do something that is amazing for the planet at this really, really difficult time. And I think, yeah, definitely not to stress about being able to buy package-free food or anything like that. It's obviously very difficult, and people are having to change the way that they live their lives, and I think it's just important to not stress if you can't make the most sustainable option.
Yeah, I think it definitely is harder at the moment. You know, you can't necessarily get to the same shops that you would have gone to or access things from the same brands. So I think it's important to not put too much pressure on yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've all got a lot more to worry about at the moment, so any small action I think is really, really great at this time, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
And I think as well, when you say if people live by the coast, like you mentioned in your local areas, well, I think that's so important. Often people don't talk as much about river cleans and things like that, but that all
Yeah,
adds to it, doesn't it?
definitely. River cleans are a really great one, and they're actually some of the worst affected in terms of plastic
Mm.
pollution, especially as you know, as I said, if things that you're flushing are kind of slipping the net and ending up in rivers and waterways that's going to be close to your local area, it's a really easy way of just kind of making a difference, and cleaning up where you can. Obviously we talk about beaches and the oceans a lot, but it's really important that if you have got the time and you've got somewhere that you can go to kind of do that clear up, that you do that, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. We had one question, and they asked in America, is there any kind of standard for people to know if they can or can't flush things there? I don't know if you know if
um
there's also like a logo.
So we're actually, the Fine to Flush logo. It was launched in the UK, and we worked with Water UK on this certification. So it is quite UK centric at the moment. However, the wipes have recently launched in the US, and they have gone through testing there as well. So we would say the same as that, only flush the three Ps, and I think the water companies in the US would be saying the same, that avoid flushing anything that isn't pee, paper or poo, basically. But in terms of the wipes, it's going to be the same sort of issue. So if a wipe is claiming that it's flushable, it most likely isn't, unless it's passed quite strict specifications in the US. Um, so yeah, I would say that definitely, I mean, the wipes are available there. I think just be really careful with what you're flushing, and have a look on the company's website. Ask them the question, ask what specifications they've passed.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. And somebody else said that they love your products and they want to know if they are completely natural and chemical free, like what is in them, I guess is their question.
Yeah, so we don't use any harsh chemicals or any perfumes, or any dyes in any of our products. Our products are also made using without chlorine bleaching. This is something that is quite common with more mainstream period products. They are um, bleached using chlorine, and this process creates a byproduct called dioxin, which is a known carcinogen. So if it accumulates in the body over time, it can cause some significant health issues. So we use a process called totally chlorine-free bleaching. So we don't use chlorine at all. We use something called hydrogen peroxide, which breaks down naturally and doesn't create any harmful byproducts. So that's kind of how we sterilize our tampons. But yeah, as I said, we don't use any harsh chemicals at all, any perfumes or fragrances that can irritate the skin, and create kind of intimate health issues.
Yeah, because I think that's what people often don't realize. It's not just an environmental issue, it makes a huge difference to your health, doesn't it? And
Yeah,
often natural products like yours can be so much more comfortable anyway. So it's a win
yeah,
all round.
definitely. I mean, we have a lot of customers that have come to us after using like a more mainstream pad, for example, and have suffered things
Mm,
like irritations, and more serious health issues. And it's often because a pad that's made from plastic isn't a particularly breathable thing to have in such close contact to intimate skin.
mm,
And often these pads can contain perfumes, and
mm,
dyes, which are also quite irritating. So yeah, cotton is a breathable material, and we have found that a lot of customers have come to us after suffering from these issues, and have experienced no irritation or far less irritation, which is really good. And as I said before, this is something that we have always been championing, is the removal of unnecessary ingredients in our products. We just use the most natural, most sustainable ingredients that we can, as it's the best thing for the body, really.
yeah, definitely. One other thing I wanted to ask about is with COVID-19, maybe it's kind of highlighted period poverty a bit as well. I
Mm.
know there's been some research around that. If people wanted to kind of help with that, is there thing like things like the eco period box and stuff like that that you'd recommend they could get involved with?
Yeah, definitely. The Eco Period Box is something that we've gotten involved with as well through Ella. So that's definitely a really great way. There are also so many other charities, like Bloody Good Period. They mostly focus on period poverty for refugees, but I think they've been doing a lot around the pandemic as well. I know that there are donation banks for supermarkets that you can drop off period products. It's a product that is often forgotten when it comes to donating. And yeah, I would say look at those charities definitely. We have been working closely with a lot of the charities, also donating money via 1% for the planet as well. But Bloody Good Period is a really, really great charity.
That's really interesting. That's good to know. Was there anything else that you wanted to add or highlight at the moment?
I just want to say, thank you so much for having us on. I think if people want to find out more about flushing and about wipes, head to our website. We've got some really great resources on our blog, if you have any more information, and head to our Instagram as well. We also have a Facebook group called There Will Be Blood. So that's a really great way to ask questions to loads of other people that have periods. It's a great place for some debate. And yeah, it would be really great to see some of you there.
Great, thank you. Your website, definitely, if people want more information, it's really informative and explains it all, because it can be quite kind of overwhelming and new when you're first switching over. So it's
definitely, yeah, it can be really daunting, and we definitely want that place to kind of be a hub of knowledge. But if anyone has any questions about switching or what product might be right for them, send us an email on our website, send us a message on Instagram, and we'd be really happy to help.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been really fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Hi, just quickly to say thank you to everybody who joined and for all of your questions. If you wanted any more advice about things like this, we spoke to Ellen Tout, who is a plastics-free period campaigner earlier in the week. We also spoke about microplastics with some experts from the Plastic Soup Foundation, and we've got some other brilliant interviews with sustainability experts. So they're all in our Psychologies Instagram feed now, so you can catch up. And thanks for getting involved. Bye.